Welcome to Social Work Herald, the podcast by me, Sanjay Bhatt. Friends, today we will have an explanatory note in this podcast defining social work. Why to define social work? Because many people have different understanding about the professional social work. As I told you earlier that social work is very difficult to define as it has passed through many stages, especially the 4 stages. And in different stages, the vocabulary used by the researchers, authors, social work practitioners, social work educators differ. So if you look at that social work definition in the beginning, Mary Richmond, 1915 onwards, the most of the definition is during that period, 1915 to say about 46, most of the definitions putting emphasis on to help, enabling, support. Now, these words are very common. And we have to remember also that definition of social work in view of one of the famous speeches, Is Social Work a Profession? By Abraham Flexner in 1915. And this 1915 is a very important year for social work profession because at that time social work was developing as a profession, questioned by the people like Abraham Flexner, its nature as a profession. And in India, social work has been a activity which is more common, similar to social service, charity and philanthropy. So there is some kind of mixing while we go for defining. Professor H.Y. Siddiqui in his book has very aptly remarked that social work is a human service profession, talks about providing services to the people, and every profession provides services to the people. So what is so different in the social work? And in absence of a suitable differentia, it is difficult to define social work having a definition which is brief, precise, inclusive and conceptually flawless. At the same time, social work profession in fact encompasses many things, growth from charity to welfare to development to empowerment, growing. And at every stage some new chapter is being added, like help to professional help, scientific knowledge, understanding of human behavior. Then in second stage, the welfare, social security, the welfare state, the duty of state, constitutional commitment, all has been added in the second stage. Then the notion of development, building capacities, bringing people into the forefront, multiple effect, poverty, unemployment, linking it with the social structure, the requisition of social change. And when you go on to the last stage of empowerment, liberation of people, liberation from the bondage of ignorance, to the illiteracy, knowledge, reach out. And this all makes difficult to define social work. And that is why you will see when I used to go into the interviews in the fieldwork Baiva or sometime even the interviews for the teaching positions, I find that without having conceptual clarity, people tries to define. And the first phase of social work, beginning 1990 onwards to 1946, another 4.5 decades, many definitions by the Western authors. They all are emphasizing on the art of bringing an individual who is in condition of a social disorder into the best possible relation with all part of the environment. So linking individual with the environment, defining it as art of changing human attitude, voluntary attempt to extend benefit to the people, a way of assisting people. Another definition says helping the client. The word came here, client. And in Indian context, we need to find a suitable word of the client for our professional vocabulary. So what I was trying to convey you that the social work profession concerned about the humanitarian philosophy, assisting people, helping people, supporting people, providing services to the people, from that angle to empowering people. Too much focus is changing, area is changing, approach is changing, and everything to bring in one definition of social work is really a difficult proposition. But, this journey has been little bit solved when we have tried to find the global definition. And before we have 2014 global definition, we have a definition in 2001 and before that. And I think the biggest definition, which is more encompassed, more broader, inclusive in the character, which brings out values, objective, purpose. So that is why first time it says it is a social work is a practice-based profession, and first time it says academic discipline which promotes social change, social development, social cohesion and empowerment. Talks of the four major tasks: empowerment and liberation of the people. Then it put emphasis on its principles of social justice, human rights, collective responsibility, and respect for diversities. If you decode these four principles, you will find that entire social work is moving around the democratic humanitarian values. And as we have been discussing in our earlier podcast, that social work is one which has drawn the best theories, principles, knowledge from different social sciences, humanities, and most importantly, indigenous knowledge. And that is why social work helps the people, engages people, work with people. And not only work with people, it also addresses the challenges. For what? For enhancing the well-being. The concept of well-being, very bigger concept, which includes welfare also, which include happiness also, which include adjustment also. Once upon a time, in some definitions, the focus was on adjustment. So friends, from here I will take you to little bit Indian definitions. How India has defined, or how Indian scholars have defined social work. Not many efforts have been done. One effort by B.G. Kher in 1947, probably first time. who has defined, based on the concept of social security. So he came out with that social work is a service orientation, talking of the fight against 5 giant evils: physical want, diseases, ignorance, squalor, idleness, somehow, somewhere derived from the concept of near to the social security. Professor Sushil Chandra, in 1954, he has defined social work as a dynamic activity undertaken by either public or private organization, means government or an NGO, for executing and implementing the social policy with a view to increase the standard of living. Now, this definition is taking you towards the welfare and development. Few more definitions are there. One by Professor Khinduka, lately by Professor Bijmohan, and at the same time, Professor Mirza R. Ahmad has also tried to define. His emphasis was on the intra and intrapersonal and interpersonal problems, social adjustment, and that engagement leads to the social roles. So, one set of definitions putting emphasis on therapeutic, the another set of definition putting emphasis on welfare, and third set of definition putting emphasis on the development, and the fourth set of definition putting emphasis on the empowerment. So in India, not many efforts have been made. Few efforts like Almighty Desai has tried to define. Even Murli Desai has brought out the developmental angle into the social work definition. But as per se definition as such, the NAPSWI has made an attempt in 2018 to bring out a broader definition. Earlier to that, Professor Verma and Singh also tried to make an attempt to define, but the most participatory and process-oriented definition came out by NAPSWI. Many of you may be knowing, NAPSWI is one of the leading professional organization of professional social workers in India, named as National Association of Professional Social Workers in India, came in existence in 2005. And it has also taken 13 years to define, as the need came in one of its annual event, Indian Social Work Congress. So in the 6th Indian Social Work Congress at Delhi, the definition which came out, this is the first definition, that professional social work is based on the democratic values, humanitarian philosophy, with a central focus on human relationship. And this is most important to understand, my dear friend, that social work focus, central theme is human relationship and human dignity. Like, in any other profession, you will find nursing is bothering about the care, medicine profession is bothering about the treatment and healthy people and healthy life. Law is more about the justice. Similarly, the social work is more about the human relationship and human dignity. The profession of social work draws its strength not only from, Eurocentric, what people say it, the theories and literature from different social sciences, but it draws its inspiration from the indigenous method, indigenous wisdom, and most importantly in Indian context, if you look at constitutional commitment to equality, social justice, human rights, welfare, and therefore it has also developed a scientific knowledge base. This professional practice is done at both levels, or rather at three levels: micro, meso, and macro level. So it works with the individuals, it works with the group, it works with the communities, it works with the organizations, systems, structures, policy, and therefore brings the advocacy in its fold. In early years of social work profession in this country, advocacy was not given that much emphasis. But of course, the later year, especially 21st century onward, advocacy has got not only, appropriate place, it is being taught and it is being practiced. So as a practice-based profession, I too have little discomfort when I call practice-based profession, because all professions are practice-based. So I say simply social work profession. It enriches the institution, creates the structure, helps to make systems more functional, and it empowers the vulnerable, marginalized, oppressed section of our communities. It also works with the environment. So friend, it endeavors to partake in social change, sustainable development, and its approaches are participatory, collaborative, with people who are in need, institution, and state. I'm really happy to share with this that there are scholars, students, and researchers who have shown interest in understanding and explaining the professional social work in their cultural context. And there are debates. In 9th Indian Social Work Congress, this debate was on for more than 1 hour, and I'm sure in the 10th Indian Social Work Congress it will be. So right from 6th Indian Social Work Congress in 2018, even during COVID pandemic, the discussion is going on, and this is a very good signal, very good sign for growth of a profession. Friends, when we talk about the social work profession in India, it is very important to understand that social work is taking many offshoots, and it has even reviving few of its areas which has been lost in the process of development, like school social work. 70s, 80s in India, the school social work was one of the very growing discipline, which lost the pace, after 80s, 85 onward. I recall that many institutions in their syllabi have taken out school social work from their syllabus. But thanks to the National Education Policy 2020, it has been revived. So my friends, my appeal is that when we define social work, we have to be very careful to respond many terms, words, concepts used in it, and to interpret them in most culturally suited language or in environment. I am very happy to inform you, friends, that Social Work Herald has received your support. When we have released the first episode, within 2 days, we have 700 views and more than 100 subscribers. And in that podcast, I mentioned that social workers are not very comfortable with the new technology. That statement came in true when many of my friends called me that what does subscribe mean? And one student asked me how much subscription I have to pay. Give. Friends, it's not subscription or any amount to be given. When you watch this video, there is a point where it is written subscribe. You have just to click it. The benefit will be that most of the videos will reach you automatically if you subscribe it. Thank you for your love and affection. And you have raised few questions. I am preparing their answers. We will discuss these answers in coming videos. Through this video, I just try to give you different aspects of the defining social work. So friend, if you want to read more on this, I have written an article, Definitions of Social Work in Past 100 Years, where I tried to write 1915 to 2014. 100 years, different definitions, why they came, what they want to communicate, what these definitions are saying, and what is their focus, and what people understand. All that I tried to put it into one. You can find it on different websites like Academia and ResearchGate. If you don't find, do write to me. I will personally share the lengthy article with you. Thank you for being with us, means me and my team, my technical partner with Laksh Kadian, and few friends who helped me in preparing this video, Mr. Narendra Sindhi and my student Salman Malik. It's wonderful interacting with you. Keep writing to us, send your comments, send your suggestion, and let's continue this journey. Thank you. We'll see you again. Friends, every Tuesday we will be releasing one video. So keep watching this video. Thank you very much. Thank you for subscribing Social Work Herald. We will meet soon in next episode. Namaskar.